back to the Talking Blondes. I'm Virginia.
And I'm Caitlin.
Thank you so much for joining us today. For those who watched the resolutions episode, welcome back. And for those who didn't get a chance to, no worries. Happy to have you here. But this is actually a continuation of the resolutions episode. Caitlin and I are going to touch on goal setting today, Talking Blonde style.
And it's not what you think. Most things we do are not what you think. We like to keep you on your toes.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. And hopefully you like it. And that's why you listen to us. We love it. So, works. It works.
We're
But
excited.
we're excited. But yes, to Caitlin's point, this is not a how to make a goal episode. And if that's what you're interested in, there's plenty out there for you. But this is more of a deeper exploration into maybe the underlying things that could possibly get in the way of accomplishing said goal. And it's not what you might think, but maybe you're already thinking it. But we will get into that more. I figured with today's episode, we would start with a quote by the great Tony Robbins.
Love
He's
it.
pretty.
Love
He's
it.
pretty.
Let's do
He
it.
is the giant, world-renowned life coach who has helped so many people from even kings, queens, presidents. He's pretty fantastic human being. And I have a quote that I thought was very fitting for today's episode. So here we go. Standards shape your life more than goals. I love that. Goals give direction, but standards determine consistency. When your standards rise, your behavior changes automatically without motivation. Tony Robbins.
Wow. So just the core of who you are, what you will and won't accept, your standards, your values, that's it. That is really what this all boils down to.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
Awesome.
Love it.
And we are going to get more into it, but I figured that we might start with, in our resolutions episode, we actually went over the definition of a goal. But Miss Caitlin, if you don't mind, could you repeat to our viewers who didn't catch that episode on what the acronym is for a SMART goal?
Yes. So this was ingrained in my brain back in my college days, which feels like the dinosaur years forever ago. So a SMART goal, it is an acronym, SMART, and it stands for specific. So is your goal clearly defined? Measurable. Is it quantified, right? Achievable. Is your goal realistic? Relevant. Does your goal align with your views? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
With your standards, perhaps? Oh. I went there. I did.
I love it. Keep going.
Call back. And then the T of SMART stands for time bound. So is there a deadline? Is there some sort of, is there a finish line really to this that you can measure type of a thing? So that is what the SMART in SMART goal stands for.
Thank you, Caitlin, for recapping that. Do you have an example of a SMART goal from the past?
Yes. So yeah. I feel like fitness just always is like the first thing that comes to my brain. So, I don't know. There's just been so many times when I just will get on, a crazy workout kick. And not that working out is crazy, but I'll be like, I want to go extra hard. And so, excuse me, everybody. I know in the past there was a time when I said to myself, for the next, I don't know, when I was turning 30, it was like 30 is hitting hard and I'm scared and oh my God. So it was like for the next 6 months plus, I'm going to work out an hour 6 days a week for the
Okay.
next 6 months, and I'm gonna do either Pilates or yoga or, go on a power walk or something. One of
Hmm.
those three things. So I try to
Yeah.
like make it something that fitness is important to me, health is important to me, especially as, we get older, we want to take care of ourselves, and so that was huge. I made sure there was some kind of a time frame on it. I made sure it was, something that maybe achievable and realistic. Maybe that was a little bit of a push, but I made it work as best as I could. I really tried, and I stuck with it as best as possible. I did have maybe a couple days where I was like, oh, I'm sick, or I'm this or I'm that, but I stuck with it as best as I could, and I stuck it out for about 6 months, and then I went back to like, I'm gonna work out maybe half an hour for
Yes.
for like 4 days a week or something. I don't know, because it just meh. But I stuck with it during that
Yes.
period of time. So, and I
That's
definitely felt the difference.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good. Probably physically and mentally,
big time,
emotionally as well.
big time. Oh
That's
yeah.
awesome. So for you, Caitlin, setting out this SMART goal, you definitely put in an action plan and you had all the things to really set yourself up for success. So would you say that you kind of like adopted this programming? This is what Caitlin's going to do. This is what Caitlin's going to do for the next 6 months. This is what Caitlin's going to do during the work week. These are the days, these are
Mhm.
the classes. Um, do you think that's what kept you going to accomplish that goal?
I definitely think so. And for me too, I'm very much like I need to see things written down. I need
Hmm.
reminders. So I had my own workout calendar. Actually, I
Okay.
have one now that I'm using. It looks a little different than that one, but yeah, I mean, I wrote down, all right, Tuesday, it's coming up. This is what I'm going to
Hmm.
do on Tuesday. So it was like Tuesday morning comes and there's not even a thought of, well, I don't know, maybe I'll do that. Like it's already pre-planned. I tried to be as intentional as I could with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the days that you knew you had a workout class, you
Mhm.
made sure you probably did the following. You had your workout clothes, your gym
Mhm.
bag, your nutrition, hydration, whatever the things to know
Yes.
that you can get through this workout. So that would take some organization and planning to do, right?
Mhm. Yes.
And do you feel like that was also helpful? So there was the actual doing it, but it was everything leading up to the actual activity that you feel like really supported you.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think for me, it's like half the battle is just getting myself ready and in the right
Mhm.
frame of mind to do it. So it's like if I'm
Okay.
doing the prep work beforehand, if my workout outfit is already picked out, I'm probably going, like that kind of thing. And I know other people might not be that way, but yeah, I mean, having it written down, having the organizational, mindset towards like, okay, this is the goal, this is the SMART goal that I have, but now I really want to like lay it all out for myself. So there's really not an excuse to skip it, like I've done the pre-work kind of thing.
Yes, yes, I love that. Well, that is a great example of a SMART goal. Thank you so much for sharing. Uh,
Sure.
Caitlin, did you know there's an acronym though for a dumb goal?
Dumb.
Yeah,
Probably
dumb.
every other goal I've ever done.
Same here. Actually, when I, went through it, I was like, huh, I set a lot of dumb goals in the past. Way more than smart ones. So for those who are tuning in today, this dumb goal actually came from a meeting that I joined at the company that I work at. I'm also a technician for a physical therapy company. And they're just really big into self growth and development, which is super cool. And they had a meeting, I believe, back in the fall about goal setting. So I was like, oh, this is perfect because I'm sure this is going to be an episode one day for the Talking Blondes. This is awesome.
Research.
Research, always researching, um, always. And so we did, an exercise of writing out like, our SMART goal, but also learning about a dumb goal. So I'm going to go through that and something to learn. I always knew about the SMART goal. I never knew about a dumb goal,
I've
but
never heard of this before.
yeah,
No.
it'll be interesting. So the D in dumb goal stands for disorganized goals.
Okay.
Scattered, vague,
Okay.
all over the place.
Right.
Uh,
Right. Okay.
an example of that is I want to do better at work and maybe start exercising. Cool.
Might have been me in the past before.
Definitely me in the
Okay.
past,
Yeah.
for sure. But notice in that example how very vague, basic. There are
Right.
no details of it, no plan right now.
Mm-hmm.
And Caitlin and I feel like you and I, in the resolutions episode, actually learned that a resolution is more like that because
Yeah.
the goal is the plan. So the resolution tends to be actually very basic and vague, and also more emotional, and you're just putting it out there. There's no follow through. So
It's
so I just
more of a,
think of that.
I'm sorry to cut you off. It's more of a thought. It's more of a wish, but
Yeah,
you don't have any plan of attack type of thing.
exactly. So the U in dumb stands for unrealistic goals.
Okay. Okay.
Too big or too unrealistic without a consistent plan. So an example of that is I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 2 weeks and run a marathon next month.
Ooh. Yeah, no. No,
Yeah,
not happening.
yeah,
Not happening, sweetheart. Not happening. Not that way.
no.
I mean, keep going. Keep going.
Keep going, keep going. I think I know where you were going with though, like you there's so much actually to unpack in that.
It,
It's
it
the
it's a very overwhelming,
yes,
very tall mountain to climb, I think.
yes,
And it might not be impossible, but it would
right,
be very, very difficult to stick to that, especially if you've maybe never done a marathon before.
hmm
Or
right,
maybe, you're new to working out, or who knows what. There's so many factors to take into consideration, but I just think that's a
yeah.
very tall order. Yeah. You might need to
And
pace
I
yourself a little bit
also
more.
Yes, I also feel like, and this could be on a subconscious level, but maybe we tend to set those big unrealistic goals because we know we're not going to meet them. And then we can keep that narrative going that we always fail at this. We can never lose the weight. We can never train ourselves for that marathon. So something too to also keep in mind. And I will touch on the subconscious a little bit more later in the episode today, but just hang on to that thought because we self-sabotage people. That is what we do when it comes to goal setting. There's this
Hmm.
deep, deep part in us that are almost like, that's not going to happen. But at least I put the goal out there and I can say
Can't
at
say
least
I
I
didn't
said it.
try. Uh-huh.
So just hang on to that thought
Got it.
as I move through the dumb goal. The M in dumb goal is meaningless goal.
Okay.
So they don't connect to your personal values, purpose, or
Mm.
long-term vision. So motivation fizzles out.
Okay. Okay.
An example of that is actually, I was thinking, Caitlin, if you were able to provide an example of a meaningless goal.
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think. I mean, I just feel like there's so many things that society tells me I should want, but they don't
Mm,
align with what I really care about.
okay. Can
I'm
you go with
trying
the
to think of
first?
something. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go with maybe the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh goodness. I don't know. I'm kind of going back to our past episode where we talked about like keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing. We talked about happiness.
Hmm
And, sometimes the social media posts get to me and it's like, oh, like she went there, I want to go somewhere. Or, oh, like she's wearing those outfits, I want to wear that too and I want to look that great. And then maybe I go buy the shirt or I do this or I do that and it's like this is not me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not a good example of a goal though. I don't know. I'm maybe
Well,
not quite
I'm
hitting it
tracking what
right.
you're saying. because it does connect because we think that's going to bring us happiness.
Yes,
We talked about that
exactly.
in our happiness episode, the one that came out before this. And so, we do set goals also for maybe that dopamine hit
Mm-hmm.
as well, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
we're working towards something, so we start to like maybe invest in the things that are
Yes.
supposed to support the goal. And so we'll take, the fitness working out classes, for example. You maybe buy the cute gym outfits and like you get your big hydration, drink, and you're, taking certain supplements. It's like you just like are convinced like, oh, these are the things that are going to help me to accomplish the goal. And they certainly can. They certainly can. But they're not everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're like supplementations to the goal. So if you can't afford the cute workout outfit, that really shouldn't stop you from working out.
Right.
If you have a
Exactly.
basic ass hydration jug and it's not the trendy one that you see on social media, but it still works just great, stick with that. And I know this might be silly, but this goes way, way back to when Caitlin and I had an episode on gratitude journaling, and I mentioned about like, for those who get the aesthetic looking nice notebook to write in for gratitude journaling practice, which there's nothing wrong with that. But if your goal was to really practice more gratitude, then that tends to come more within, and whatever tool you're using is going to enhance that
Yes.
experience for you.
Yes.
You remove that deep emotional attachment to it because what if you had to go one day without your pretty little notebook, or you had to go one day without, a aesthetic looking, gym workout outfit? Is that really going to stop you from doing what you set out to do? Is that really going to hinder the progress that you are trying to make to accomplish that goal? So those are all things to hang on to as we get more deeper into this episode. Do you have something to
I
share?
was just gonna say, absolutely agreed. And, if those things are preventing you, then there's a bigger problem than just, oh, I don't have my really cute notebook to write my gratitude thoughts in, or oh, I don't have that cute workout, or cute outfit, even though I just said, if I pick out my outfit, then I'm not gonna not do the gym. I realize I'm contradicting myself, but if it's those more superficial things that are stopping you from actually attacking the plan at hand, then there's more internal stuff you need to do for sure.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought up that distinction. And going back to the cute workout outfit or the pretty notebook, as I mentioned, those should be tools to enhance, your experience. But they can definitely help. They can definitely help. Caitlin, you demonstrated actually what's called a visual cue when you set out your cute gym workout outfit. The brain sees that as a visual and it reminds like, oh yes, I'm doing my workout. But the main point to that, it doesn't really matter what the outfit is that you set an outfit, the visual cue to go do the workout, which is part of your goal.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Same with the pretty little notebook. You set it out because you know your next morning routine is going to be gratitude journaling. That is your visual cue.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
again, the main point is if for whatever reason you didn't have that pretty little notebook or you just had a basic one, that shouldn't necessarily stop you. But I think we're good on that and we can move forward. So the last letter in dumb, letter B, stands for broad goals.
Okay. Okay.
General, without clear direction, timelines, or measurable outcomes.
Mm. I
So,
want to eat healthier.
oh my gosh, Caitlin, I even had that written down as the
That's
example.
another one I've definitely done before. It's like, all right, how? What are you gonna eat? When are you gonna eat it? Like,
Yep.
like when are you gonna try to see improvement? How are you gonna like, yeah, 100%.
You actually mentioned that resolution in our resolutions
Mhm.
episode because this is what would come up for you in the previous New Year's.
Yes.
And yeah, I want to eat healthy is a very broad goal. And like you said, Caitlin, the questions already started to flood. Like, okay, but what does that entail? What does that look like? I even wrote down like, what is it in your day to day? Are you meal prepping? Are you eating at home more? Are you drinking water? Are you reducing the sugary coffees that we tend to get while we're out and about? It's things like that that make it more of a concrete goal instead of a broad goal. So yeah, that's dumb goal for you. And as Caitlin and I said, I mean, I've definitely had way more dumb goals than smart goals in the previous years. For so many years in my 20s, it was the classic, I'm going to start working out. I would not write down anything. I would not come up with a calendar, a plan, and these are
Yeah.
the classes I'm going to join. It was like somehow by just putting it out there that the universe was going to be like, "Yes, and I'm going to give you your dream body just by you going, and I want to work out more or I want to eat healthy." Granted, can it start that way? Absolutely. But what Kayla and I have already been unpacking, there's a lot more that goes to it. Um,
The thought's important. Having that initial thought is great. We're not
yes,
shaming you for that, but it's the work that comes after that that is going to hold you accountable and keep you on that right track. I'm
absolutely.
thinking.
Yep. Um, and I mean, I know we've kind of maybe already touched on some examples, but like, I know for you, Caitlin, it's not even like maybe a dumb goal per se, but like for you is I want to eat healthy, but with no real plan to back
Yes.
that up. Would you consider that to be like a dumb goal?
Oh yeah. I mean, again, the thought is great. Like the thought is it does align with my values, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But there's no strategy there whatsoever as
Okay.
to how I'm gonna tackle that. If I just do it in that way, I want to eat healthier. Okay, great. Now what?
Right. Well, have you ever wondered or questioned though as to why you tend to not follow through with a plan when it comes to that goal?
Like that specific goal in
Hmm.
particular. There's a number of things, I'm sure. I've definitely thought about it though, like, oh great, here I am heating up leftovers from DoorDash today, or whatever kind of thing. Or oh yeah, I'm having cereal at 11 o'clock at night. That's special for me, kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it honestly everything that we just said about SMART goals.
Hmm.
Um, all of those different things, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time out, none of those things were included in saying I want to eat
Hmm.
healthy or healthier.
Okay.
Except for maybe the relevant, aligning with my values, but
Yeah.
there's nothing else. And I truly think that, there just was not enough organization or thought put into okay, and now what kind of
Hmm.
thing. So yeah.
And do you feel like though that is coming from a deeper place as to why maybe you can't come up with this plan because you're able to do that for your when you wanted to get into fitness and working out
Yeah,
yeah, so which you've
definitely.
already kind of by doing that you collected data about yourself.
Hmm.
That's actually what happens when you do hard things. You build up your belief system in you that you can do these
Okay,
things.
that makes sense.
So my question is that you did a hard thing, you stuck with it, and you did great. So what's the gap between that and then creating a sustainable plan when it comes to eating healthy?
That is
You
a
don't have to
good.
answer right here, right now, but it is
Yeah,
if it's getting the brain thinking, this is actually what I wanted for our viewers today.
that's a great question. I mean, I hate to say it, but I'm sure there's some laziness there. I mean,
Okay.
it's definitely work to meal prep or to
Yes.
cook a nice, not all meals are a lot of work, but there are a lot of meals that do take more time than something
Yes.
that's less healthy. I'm sure that's part of it. Yeah, I'm sure there's a number of things that, if I really kind of thought more into it, that would be beneath
Hmm.
the surface of that. Yeah.
Well, thank you for even just touching on some of those things. Because when I heard laziness, that made me think that maybe, just possibly, that might be part of like, an old narrative. Um,
Okay.
and so these are the kind of things we are going to get into in this next section of our podcast today is the subconscious. Guys, it's I don't have it all figured out, okay? But I don't. And I don't want to because then I won't, I wouldn't be a student anymore and there's so much to learn. However, you know, a lot of us can set a goal. Caitlin, we just talked about it.
Hmm.
I want to eat healthy. I want to work out. Okay. Maybe that starts off as a resolution, right? Because you're just putting it out there. It's not backed up by an action plan, which is the goal. But a lot of us actually can set a goal, write out a plan, and even start taking action. Right, Caitlin? You did it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I've done it. But somewhere along the way, we quit. Or maybe we really did have a difficult time starting and just never really follow through with it. My question is why?
I I actually have somewhat of a, I'm not sure who listening would relate to this or not. If anybody
Mhm.
out there relates, or if this is not you, this is just my perspective. The more I think about this, and the more I just think about kind of goals in general and planning and everything, I know kind of my upbringing, there was nothing, it wasn't anyone's fault necessarily, like that
Mhm.
it is this way, but my upbringing kind of instilled this mindset in me that, like, well, you really can never plan for anything because
Mhm.
life is always going to throw something you can't expect your way. And I do
Yeah.
think that's a wise mindset, but I don't think it's always black and white like that.
Yes.
However, I will say, and I do think it depends on maybe your background. Like, I know for me, raised by a single mom, um, dad very much out of the picture, child support was questionable, money was tight. There were a lot of things that were just, I don't want to say not stable because it wasn't for my mom's lack of trying, but it was not like, oh, you can always count on everything. Like, there were times when, it's like, okay, well, do we pay this bill or do we, you know, buy those groceries? Do we
Mhm.
borrow from this person and then pay that person back and then hope to, like, just a number of things. And so I do think maybe, I know this is kind of a roundabout, insight here that I'm sharing, but I think there's somewhat perhaps of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Viewpoint
Mhm.
subconsciously and maybe now consciously that I have that is, well, it's uh, you can try that goal, but you're probably not going to achieve it because there's a lot of other things that are going to happen that you can't control. And so I think, maybe depending on your background as well,
Mhm.
depending on, the financial stability, support system you have, and a number of different factors, there's things that maybe you're either going to be able to be proactive
Mhm.
in life, or oftentimes there's many of us out there who grew up in a family or just a lifestyle where you had to be more reactive, and so you weren't really able to think ahead, think 5 steps ahead, or even 2 steps
Right.
ahead. So that might be something too, and I haven't really thought about that before until kind of thinking about this topic.
Yeah, no, that can definitely have an impact on, viewing life, in that way. And when it comes to things like goal setting, It's interesting how surface level goal setting even brought all that up for you,
Yes, big
you
time.
know? And that's why your story actually is very fitting for today's episode because we're going to get into all of that here in just a second. So thank you for sharing that because I do
Sure.
think it ties into what I'm about to touch on. So yeah, I asked like why,
Hmm.
why do we struggle, with goal setting? It's because we don't really, have the full understanding of what it really is and the process and how to go about it. Is it really that complicated? Was it meant to just be, simple? We write out the plan, we adopt the programming, and we just do the thing. Much like what you did, Caitlin, when you wrote out your 6 month workout plan. You just did it.
Hmm.
So, is it as simple as that? But then why is there such a struggle with coming up with a similar plan for eating healthy? Is it because deep down you're just not that person who eats healthy all year round? Is there an identity thing going on there? Certainly it stirred up old beliefs in you from your past that I'm just not this person who sets goals. I'm in constant survival mode. That might be more of a luxury for people. You see how that programming can
Oh, yeah.
really kind of like, have an impact. So with all that being said, was it maybe more of a dumb goal than a smart goal? And that's why we're having such struggles? Maybe. Maybe it really was a dumb goal. It was too big, unrealistic, not measurable. Maybe it didn't align with your values. That's something to maybe sift through when you set a goal. Like ask yourself those questions. Now you know what a SMART goal is. So is the goal aligning more with a SMART goal? But more often than not, I think there's a deeper meaning behind it. And for me, after years and years of making positive changes in my life, I think I've narrowed it down to these three things. So bear with me. The first one is figuring out your why. Why are you even setting this goal? Your why is supposed to be your anchor. It's supposed to help you keep the goal, like stay with the goal so you don't pretty much like think of it exactly like literally an anchor that's holding you to this goal. It's your strong why. Why
Hmm.
you even want to do this? Without that anchor, you'll just float.
Okay. Yeah.
You'll just be very loose out there in the open water, no anchor, and you're certainly not going to accomplish that goal without that anchor, which is your why. And an example of that is I had a client who shared with me recently her why for getting into shape and eating healthy. And her why was because she wants to be a strong, healthy woman where she shows up for her future spouse and family.
Mm.
So I thought that was really beautiful and powerful that she is looking at her future spouse and family as her anchor to be able to show up for her in that way because it takes a lot of self love, self compassion, and self discipline to take care of yourself in that way. So I thought that was really beautiful when she shared that with me. And usually it can be actually something bigger than us, can be our why, you know? But if it's also because you just want to feel better and you want to be happy and fulfilled, uh, those are wonderful reasons, a great why too, because that has a ripple effect on other
True.
people who get to
True.
benefit from that. So,
Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I do think having something that's not only about you. I know it
Hmm.
in my experience, I feel more um maybe accountable, or I hold myself more accountable
Yeah.
when I know it's not just because it's going to make me happy, or just because, oh, this, like, even
Hmm.
though that can still definitely be a good thing and something to hold on to. But I think that's so beautiful what you just said, that, she doesn't, you said it's her future spouse and future
Mhm.
family and everything. Like that's wonderful. That's so, so sweet. Good for
I
her.
thought so too. And
Yeah.
so maybe, as you're all listening and you're thinking about your goals, and this even has you thinking like, what is my why?
Yeah.
Why do I even want to do, why do you even want to eat healthy, Caitlin? It's like, so, again, like these are, Kayla and I are really big about taking a pause from
Yes.
day to day life and asking these questions.
Absolutely.
So you're not just doing them for the sake of doing them and being on autopilot. You are consciously and intentionally uh, pursuing these goals for a reason. Um, and maybe it's exactly that. There's a deeper meaning behind that reason. The second thing I feel like when it comes to goal setting is, and I actually touched on this a little bit earlier in today's episode, I talked about your emotional attachments.
Mm,
So, Caitlin, when you were already bringing up things from your past and your childhood, there are emotional attachments to those things that we still hang on to, and maybe not even consciously, but subconsciously, we hang on to. So we're wondering why. Well, what does that have to do with setting a goal? Well, it's a blockage
yes,
to get in your
definitely.
way. It's a barrier.
Yeah.
So if we take the time to actually heal and process and release those emotional attachments, well, then it clears out those blockages, those barriers to be able to go after that goal. Because think about the things that come up, even when we're already, putting the plan in motion. Self doubt comes up, confidence, self esteem. I really can't do this. I'm not this person.
Mm,
All that starts to resurface. So if we just take the time to really kind of cleanse that out, it really can make space for the goal to be far more fulfilling. And it's not going to be about the desired outcome, it's the person you become during the process. That's the difference.
that's beautiful. I know too, I forget the statistic that I heard a while back, but it was something like for a habitual change, it takes, what is it, a month or something?
90 days,
Nine.
I
Okay,
believe.
so
Yeah.
so yeah, so way more than 1 month, to really get your body and your mind used to doing something
Hmm.
different. And so the challenge itself is already there. But if you're coming into this new goal and you already have a lot of emotional, like to your point, Virginia, kind of a blockage or something,
Hmm.
that's even more, of a, well, I don't think I'm going to do this kind of
Oh
thing.
yes,
That's
you're
going to
you're
make it even
creating a
worse.
lot. Yes, you're
Yeah.
creating a lot more resistance for yourself, which will
Hmm.
make going after the goal far more difficult. So just maybe something to be mindful of. And then the third thing is, and I really do think this all three of them are all connected. The third thing is, do you have a guess, Caitlin? Because we've
So,
actually already touched on it earlier in the episode.
okay,
So,
so we talked about the having an anchor, having your
yep,
why.
your strong why, the emotional
Exactly. And we talked
attachments.
about having the emotional
Mhm.
everything. Um, I don't know. I don't know. You go
That's
ahead,
okay.
tell me.
That's
This is
okay.
end the suspense for me.
It's making a core identity shift.
Okay. Okay. I
So,
see.
I'm going to reference another Tony Robbins quote, but your identity determines your destiny. So you
Okay.
don't get lasting results by changing what you do. You change them by changing who you believe you are.
Ah, okay.
Behavior follows identity, not the other way around.
Mm.
And I
And that
love
is so true. That is
that.
so
Hmm.
true. If you think about any of us listening or anyone listening right now or watching or what have you, if you really do some digging and you think about the goals that you've set that did and didn't work, I'm sure if you don't have that, it's not one of those that panned out for you. If you don't have that identity connection, no.
Yeah.
Nope.
So I have a story time for our viewers, just so for people to get to know me a little bit better, because I wasn't always like this. And you could be listening to this and be like, girl, you still don't know what you're talking about. But I do have a little story because I think this ties into all three of those things that I mentioned. So, over the past 8 years, I have done a complete 180 in my life. So you talk about an old narrative, belief system, identity. I was the girl notoriously known for eating fast food up to 3 times a day. I was the fast food queen. Ate tons of ultra processed foods. I was constantly running on caffeine, soda, alcohol, barely drank any water. I hardly moved my body. By the time I was 26, I had no muscle mass. I was just like skin.
Mm.
And I definitely had more of a victim mindset. I hardly read books. Didn't matter what genre of book. I wasn't a book reader. In fact, I even had maybe an old belief system around book reading that, I struggled growing up with some learning disabilities. And I felt like reading was very forced upon me. I just convinced myself, Virginia, you're just not a reader. And Virginia, this is the food that you eat. And Virginia, you don't go to the gym and you work out. Well, when I say complete 180, I mean complete 180. I had to figure out my why. Why do I even want to live a healthier life? Okay, figuring that out.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had to release a lot of emotional attachments to those things because they at once served a purpose.
Yeah.
Caitlin, you might not even be aware of it, but there are certain foods or drinks you consume that you might have a deeper emotional attachment to because maybe at one point they did serve a purpose. Maybe it was comfort. Maybe it's nostalgia. Whatever it is.
Pizza Hut personal pan pizzas.
Pizza Hut.
Nostalgia. Anybody? Any Book It kids out there? Anybody?
Anyone?
I don't
Anyone?
know. I don't know. I'm on a whole other topic. We got to do like a 90s kids episode one of these days.
we definitely will.
But yes, that is very, very relatable. Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying that I never indulge in those things, or Caitlin, that you never have that, pizza, because it's not just a pizza to you, it's a childhood memory unlocked. Yes. You get to revisit it again, and if you enjoy it, enjoy it. I'm just saying that it no longer has any power over you.
Mm-hmm.
You removed the power by releasing those emotional attachments. You have the power over it. So if you want the pizza, have the pizza, but it doesn't dictate your life. It doesn't go, and I will bring you happiness and fulfillment by having this pizza. Don't worry about your health or your goals or anything like that. Remember, it's me. I'm from your childhood. Remember me.
Every single day, order me and you'll be fine. You'll be like, it's 1998.
Just fine. You can live in the past. So again, this is not about, and I cut all that out. I still enjoy a glass of wine. I enjoy a cookie. I have still negative thoughts, and I still have low energy days. I'm human. We're human. Okay? But this, again, goes back to if you do this kind of inner work, it's you consciously calling the shots. You're no longer operating on a subconscious level while you're mindlessly eating this, or, why, once again, you're not you're not moving your body, even if it's just a 10-minute walk. Mm-hmm. And we've talked about that. This is not about these hard kick-ass workouts that you do 6 to 7 days out of the week for a few months. If you're starting at ground zero, like I did when I got into weightlifting 8 years ago, okay, this girl right here, okay, weighing in at 98 pounds as a full-grown woman, yeah, no muscle mass, no muscle mass. I had someone in my circle who none of that mattered to them. None of that mattered. This was all part of my old narrative, and it was still getting in the way.
So I
So
just want to
I
make
had
sure
some,
I just want to make sure I understand when you say in your old circle, because that could go one of two ways when you say it didn't matter. Do you mean it didn't matter in
oh,
that
yes.
they loved and accepted you for who you are, or do you mean that mindset of Psh, don't go to the gym, don't do this, don't do that? Is that what you mean, and it like rubbed off on you, and you were like, well, that's how I should be because these are the people I surround myself with. Is that kind of what you mean?
Thank you for clarifying. And because of that, I can actually touch on both of those things.
Okay.
So, if I was known for the skinny girl. Oh, you're so skinny. Eat a cheeseburger, and it's like, okay, I guess I'm that skinny girl.
Oh,
I guess that's my identity. It's not all Virginia. It's,
I just
it's, no,
as
I,
as your
I
friend and
understand.
someone who
I
cares
understand.
about you, I'm so proud of the journey you've had, I
Oh,
guess. Is
thank
is
you.
kind of where I'm coming from. But I
No,
realize you're not trying to be a victim here or anything like that.
oh, no,
I
no, but
understand that.
and I understand that too, but just hear me out when I say this.
Sure.
Because this is what people are listening and going like, maybe like, oh my gosh, like that's me too. Like I'm the heaviest person in my family. I'm the skinniest person in my family. That becomes part of your identity. You
Sure.
didn't choose it for yourself. It's who you're surrounded by who kind of is like choosing that for you. Like you'll just forever be this person.
Mm-hmm.
You'll forever be known as this person versus somebody who swoops in and going back to like, yeah, I don't care because this doesn't define you.
Mm.
Yes, it plays a role. Of course it plays a role. It would be ridiculous to dismiss all of that. However, it does not define you.
Yes.
And so me being underweight, malnourished, skinny, fat, as a full-grown woman, it mattered and it didn't matter. I just let it define me and let that be part of my core identity that I will forever be that person. So why even bother? Versus
Yeah.
having somebody go, I see all that, I get it, doesn't have a place here. And it's like,
Okay.
what? But that's my identity. I have body dysmorphic disorder and I hate my face and my body. And this is just going to make things worse. Like, how could you think like, this doesn't matter?
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody is interrupting my programming and trying to help me shatter that old belief system that is still getting in the way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what happened? I start working out. I just start showing up for these workouts, and I was struggling, okay, with 10-pound weights, but I kept at it and I kept showing up for it. And then, of course, that was a catalyst for so many other things in my life to like, wow, well, then, gosh, if I'm doing that, then I should probably eat better. And if I eat better, I should probably be, drinking more water. Maybe there's certain supplements I need to take. I should look into that and get blood work done. How's my sleep? It's a force multiplier
Yeah.
when you start to take care of yourself in that way, mind, body, and spirit. So, and this is what ties into all these three things that I mentioned when it comes to goal setting is that, if these are the things, though, these deep rooted underlying things that are getting in the way of accomplishing this goal or pursuing this goal, this would be the inner work that I would highly encourage anybody to do. But it's very important, though, that it's paired with structure.
Mm. Yeah.
And when you hear that, what do you hear, Caitlin?
I mean, doing it in a way where it's not chaotic. You're not just like
Hmm.
throwing, wet spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks and hoping something works. That's kind of the mindset that I have whenever I'm trying to actually, brainstorm and accomplish at work, I should say. I gave a presentation a
Hmm.
while back where I was actually giving that example out of like instead of just seeing what sticks and hoping something works. Let's actually have like a plan and some sort of
Mm,
concrete structure that we're working from here.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you need to have some sort of guidelines that you're abiding by and you're not just winging it
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
thing.
Okay. So that's what we'll get into on a future episode of Talking Blondes is Caitlin and I will go over the building blocks to support that goal. And those building blocks are habits, routines, and systems.
Mm.
So,
Tell me
super.
more. But you gotta
And
wait,
you'll,
everybody. You have to wait.
yes, but I know this was a completely different take on goal setting,
Well,
but I hope you liked it.
I mean, I loved it. I hope everybody else did. I think this was such an insightful approach to goals. Very similar in a sense of how I felt it was such a unique and much needed take when you were talking about resolutions and goals in our first episode of this year. I just thought that was perfect. I want to say too, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing just, past Virginia and the journey that you've taken. And I know that was a super high level thing. I'm sure, there's so much more work that you did that we don't have enough time in any podcast to talk through every little step that either of us took to, fight off a lot of our old selves and things we had to grow through. But that's it. What a beautiful person you are. And I
Oh,
just see you as such a strong, strong individual. And no, you're right. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I think it's beautiful that we're not. And it's beautiful that we don't know everything because we are approaching this topic. And in my mind, I feel in my heart we approach other topics and I want to keep going in that direction as students, where we always have things
yeah,
to learn. And if you don't have that
yeah.
kind of a mindset, you're going to have a very closed off life, whether
Mhm.
it comes to setting goals or how to be vulnerable or um, friendships in adulthood, all these other things we've talked about. And I'm so excited to learn more about, just the structure of
Mhm.
a successful goal and what that looks like. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
I'm so glad that you also enjoyed today's episode. And for our viewers, if you feel like you can add something to those things I mentioned, again, that was just what I've been through, personally, and then just some of the work that I've been doing, and and people that I listen to and that I look up to. But if you're like, hey, have you thought about this or that? Maybe an add-on.
Yes.
Please let us know because I would love because I knew by putting that together, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna base it really off of anything concrete. This is just gonna be just from my own personal experience. But if it at all resonated in any way, I'd love to know. We'd love to know. Because I do think there is something to be said when you do some inner work instead of just going through the mundane activity of goal setting. Our workplaces do it. Our It comes up in our personal lives, and
Hmm.
some of us, you know, may just because of maybe these things, these limiting beliefs, or these barriers, these blockages that Caitlin and I were talking about, how they get in the way, of you even thinking that you could set out that goal. So I hope this was helpful and a helpful way of breaking down goal setting.
And I think too, at least for me personally, I mean, there's so many good takeaways from what you covered, Virginia. I think one thing that really resonated with me is
Mhm.
finding your why.
Mm.
I myself feel so much more motivated just in general in life when I feel there's a greater purpose to something, whether it's my job or an activity I'm doing that I've been looking forward to, or whatever it might be. And especially if it's a goal, if there's something that I really feel rooted to or anchored, as you talked about having your anchor that you keep coming back to. I don't know. I just think if
Yes.
anyone's, whether you're listening or watching us or, whatever, I hope that that hit home with you or, perhaps there was a different thing that you're like, yes, Virginia got it. Or, to your point, Virginia, maybe there's something else that somebody's like, but wait, you guys didn't mention this. Like, let us
Yes.
know. We're learning too, like we were
Yep.
saying earlier. So we are all ears and we love to hear your thoughts too, for
Oh, thanks
sure.
everyone for tuning in today. And be sure to, tune in for our next episode. But Caitlin and I, going into these topics like resolutions and goal setting, and the next one to be more about habits, systems, and routines. Maybe like just have that be part of like a mini series for you
Yeah.
guys. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you next time, everybody. Take care.
Take care. Bye, guys.